Hello, welcome to another Capture the Flag edition of Daryl Show Your Work, episode 118 to be exact. All right, so continuing on with the overall theme of post exploitation of a compromised Linux host. All right, now in this video I'm going to be discussing how to establish persistence once we have gained access to that Linux host. So before I go any further, I'm going to preface this video with my usual disclaimer here. Where anytime I'm doing any sort of red teaming or offensive security activity, by saying that this is for educational, research, and ethical purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching this video, I don't take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so persistence. All right, so for those who may not be familiar with exactly that term or exactly what that is, that consists of a set of techniques that malicious actors can use to maintain access to systems regardless of restarts, change credentials, and other sort of interruptions that could otherwise terminate their access. So I'm going to basically be showing how to maintain access regardless of what the system administrator or whoever the user of this target Linux host is, and how we can again maintain access to this machine as long as possible to achieve whatever objective, that we want to achieve. All right, so some things I've done prior to recording. And again, since I have done this check a rootkit exploit before in a prior video, I wasn't going to take us through that since it's actually fairly long. All right, but one of the things that I needed in order to conduct that attack was the credentials for an SSH client, so we could pretend that I've done a brute force dictionary attack against that SSH client to um, to um, to gain these user credentials. Jackie being the username, password being the password, and of course I have our target host's IP address here, where they're located at 192.168 3.3. Okay, so I've got us up to the point within a check a rootkit exploit where I've gotten our second interpreter session here. All right, so what I want to do is I want to jump in to shell. All right, and well, I can do some initial enumeration here, just just so we have an idea of who I'm logged in as and my level of permissions here. All right, so to do that, I'm gonna just say get UID. All right, and we can see that I'm the root account. So I should have full system authority now, since I was able to gain this root access via that check root, exploiting that check root kit um, um, a vulnerability. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to see what our current service accounts and user accounts are, and of course to do that I'm going to have to well, first I'm gonna have to execute the shell here. All right, now that I have a channel open in the system, I'm going to have to view the contents of the exe passwd file. And the reason I say passwd, by the way, instead of password, because technically you're not in Linux, you're not looking at like passwords when you go inside the passwd directory. You're looking at user accounts, where with the shadow file or with the shadow directory, that's where you're actually viewing password hashes. All right, so I always say that, at least for myself, so there's no confusion as far as what it is that I'm looking for or looking at when I go inside of that directory. But that's just me. All right, so let's view that. All right, and similar to in my prior video, we can see that we only have two user accounts here, one being the root account and the other being the Jackie account. The rest of these are service accounts. All right, so there are two different methods that I can take in order to achieve persistence here on this target Linux host. So the first being creating a a service user backdoor. All right, so that involves me creating again a backdoor user where I could create a service account that blends in with all of these guys. So if a system admin or another user comes, does this same type of enumeration to see what service accounts and user accounts are present here on the system, nothing would stand out as far as how I've configured that account, named that account, and everything else. And they would clearly see the account, but they just nothing would stand out, and they wouldn't flag it as being suspicious. And then the second method is using a Metasploit post exploitation module, which is specifically designed to achieve persistence and involves using um, um, public key, private key pairs. All right, so I'm going to show the first method first, and then I'll go into the second method. All right, so with the first method, the first thing that I would need to do is I would need to actually start creating that user account. So in order to do that, I'm gonna say user add, and I'm gonna say dash M to give it a home directory, and I'm gonna name this new user account FTP. Again, a very common service that runs on a lot of machines. Now, if this is an organization that has a pretty savvy or robust security landscape, that may stand out to them since FTP is an insecure protocol, and they will probably have that locked down by default. But for the sake of the video here, I'm just going to use FTP since it is very common. All right. Um, and then I'm gonna say dash S, and when I say dash S, I'm telling it which shell type to use, and I'm going to assign it a bash shell. All right. So anytime we're going to log in as this FTP a service account, it's going to establish a bash shell for us. All right, seemed like it did not like that. So let's see. Let's try something else here. I'm going to go back and try something else because I've seen this before and I don't know why it does this. All right, so I'm actually going to cancel this channel and let's background this. And then it seems like if I do this, it fixes the problem with that because user add is a pretty common command that I should be able to use with with root privileges. All right, so I'm gonna upgrade. Even though I am using Meterpreter, I'm going to use that and see if I get a fourth Meterpreter second session and see if that'll solve my problem there. Okay, so I'm gonna say sessions 4. All right, and so let's do a shell there. Okay, so all right, so then I'm gonna try. Let's try this again. Oh, okay, I wasn't done doing this thing. Okay. All right, then we're gonna give it a home directory, name that FTP. Bin bash. All right, let's see. Do you like it now? No, it still does not like it. Okay. Let me see. When did I say user add, user add? Only. All right, let's see. Not sure why it had that in there twice like that. S. All right, looked like that was okay. That was it. Yeah, I'm not sure why that happened. Sometimes I have to do the upgrade to Meterpreter, even though I'm already in Meterpreter. So I'm not sure why, but it looked like it went through that time. Okay, so moving on. I'm going to give this new service account a password. So I'm gonna say passwd FTP. All right, so the new password. I'm gonna give it something simple, but of course you would add more complexity to a password like this, because again, if this account was discovered, I wouldn't want someone to be able to easily, be able to use my account to get in. But they would probably more than likely they wouldn't even try to log in with it. They would just try to delete it. But it's still good to give it a strong um, password here. All right. So now that I've added that in, also now remember I'm using the root account. So that being the case, I want to be able to give this new service account the same type of privileges that my root account has. So I want to be first. So first, I'm gonna see what user group my root account is in, and if this account is in a user group, I'm going to assign FTP to that same user group so it has the same rights and privileges as the root account. Therefore, when I log in as this account, it'll basically be running with elevated privileges similar to root. All right, so I'm gonna say groups root, and this is going to show me what user groups the root account belongs into. All right, so it looks like the root belongs into the root uh, um, uh, user group. All right, so that's where I want to be able to assign FTP to. So in order to put FTP into that user group, I'm gonna say user mod dash lowercase a uppercase g as in for add group, and I'm gonna say root and specify the group that I want to add this account to, which is the root group, and then the account that I want to add in there is FTP. All right. So now if I do groups FTP this time, now it's confirming that FTP is in the root that FTP is in that root group. Okay. So if I could do a cat etc passwd again to get that list of service and user accounts. All right, now we can see that FTP account has been added. So there's one more thing I want to do to this before moving on to method two. If we notice that in the front of some of these service accounts, we have another set of numbers here. So you see the order that is going in where it says you have 1,000 for Jackie and 1,001. Well, that would be a good sysadmin would look at this and would be able to tell that, well, wait a minute, this looks like this account was made after the Jackie account, and that they would be able to tell that, well, this is a fairly new FTP account. Why is there a new FTP account here? So that would they may flag that. So one thing we want to do it to throw them off is to create a give it a user ID. So therefore, it'll put one of these smaller numbers in front of that, and so they'll look at that, and they may not, and it may throw them off as in terms of the order in which this account was made, versus what order is listed. All right. So in order to do that, I'm gonna say user mod and dash lowercase u for user, and then I'm gonna assign it a user ID of 15. All right, then I'm gonna tell it what account I want to assign the user ID 15 to, which is FTP. All right, and now when I do cat etsy passwd again. All right, now we can see that 15 is now in place of where that 1,000 was. All right, so now it just looks like, well, maybe it's being listed out of order, but at least we could see that, okay, that as far as convention, as far as numbering convention, it actually has a user ID of 15 and not 1001, 1001. All right, so again, again, can someone pick up on that? Maybe, but just upon just looking at this initially, they're probably going to overlook that unless they already know that insecure products, insecure servers like FTP shouldn't even be here in the first place because they have that port locked down. All right. So I want to go into the second method now. All right. So that was the first method, creating a service account, a backdoor service account. All right, for us to be able to then log into anytime. All right, and then also though, method two again. Look, we're going to search for a module that specifically targets host post exploitation, and it's going to and what it's going to do is going to create first a public key that is going to place in all the user and service accounts, home directories, and then it's going to give us the private key to then be able to authenticate every time we want to authenticate. That way we won't need to know what the actual password is for the SSH servers, and we'll be able to authenticate every time without it asking us for a password. Okay, so to get that started, I'm going to terminate this channel, the shell channel, and background a Meterpreter session here, and I'm going to search for that tool. So I'm going to say search platform, and then I'm going to say Linux, and then I'm going to also tell it I want something that has persistence in it. Okay. All right, so we still have quite a few options that pop up here, but remember, I want to be able to use that SSH key persistence. All right, that's going to give me that public and private key pair. So that looks like that falls under module ID 7. So I'm going to say U7. All right, so let's go to show options to see what I had to configure here. All right, so just a couple of things here that I need to configure. Um, so one, I'm gonna configure, I'm gonna change this from create SSH folder from false to true, because I'm gonna need that in order to conduct this this activity. All right, and then for the session, of course I'm gonna have to give it my session ID here. All right, so I'm gonna say set create SSH folder. We're gonna set that to true. All right, and then I'm gonna set the session to 4, since that's the Meterpreter session that I'm working with. All right, and I'm gonna run that, and we should start seeing um, those public keys being placed into those service user account directories. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my machine's running a little slow today. All right, let's try that again. Sometimes it does that. So we should be seeing green type of plus signs, and not those yeah, so it's not liking something. uh let's see, I may have to come out and come back in. Let's see, let's go to show options. Make sure I got everything set the way it should. That's true. That's 4. Yep, everything's set. Let me try to clear this. All right, now let's run that again. There we go. Well, it looked like it started. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of Metasploit and then go back in and see if maybe that'll fix the problem. Oh, yeah, let me see. All right. Then let's see. Let's go back and all right. Let's see. Space. Name this all caps persistence. Okay. And then we're gonna set G our hosts. Let's see. Grab this. Okay, then we're gonna SSH score login. Zero. All right, let's set username Jackie. I'm just taking this back through everything just really quickly to try to get back to where we were, because sometimes it just I don't know, that particular post exploit, it just sometimes it acts up. All right, then upgrade that to Meterpreter. Okay, not sure why it opened 3 up, but okay. So then we're gonna search for check root kit. All right. See, that was bin slash rootkit. This is set to session 3. I don't know why it did that. So we wait for the cron job to run. It runs like every 60 seconds. So once that cron job runs, that's running that rootkit scanner. Then then it's going to pick it up and just give us our Meterpreter session. So that's what I'm waiting on. Hmm. All right, not sure why that's cancel that. I'm not sure why that's not going. Okay, so you know what? Let's just go with that. So all right, so I'm gonna just start from here since we look like we already actually have a root session on that session 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run just that post exploit again. I'm gonna say search platform Linux persistence, right? And we're going to use that was number 7. All right, and then we're going to set um, let me see. What we're going to definitely set the session 3. Then what else was it? Show options. Oh yeah, then we have to set that to true. SSH folder to true. All right, well, let's try this again. There we go. Okay. So yeah, it looks like I had to go in and go back out. So I had it like I don't know about 10 more minutes of the overall process, but it looks like I was able to get that going, and indeed it added all of those public keys to each home directory of each service account. So if I do root, all right, it now shows me the private key. All right, so I'm gonna cat this display it, and I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna create my own file to then be able to access that during login. Sorry, so I'm gonna say cat. All right, so there's my private key. All right, so I'm gonna copy it. All right, now I'm gonna exit out of Metasploit. All right, now I'm back in my home directory, so I'm gonna open up my text editor here, and I'm going to create a file called ssh_key. So this is going to be where I'm going to save my private key here to use every time that I go to authenticate using using SSH session. So I'm gonna say Control X and then Y to save. Okay. All right. Now let's try to make that connection here. All right. So once I get in, remember this is a capture the flag edition. So I'm gonna try to see if I can find a flag once getting into here. Hopefully, once I authenticate. All right. So I'm gonna say SSH dash I to tell it how I want to authenticate, and I want to authenticate with my new private key here that I've created. All right. And I want to authenticate as the root account, and I'm gonna give it the target host's IP address, which I'm gonna snag from here. All right, let's see. I'm gonna tell it yes. And it's, oh, you know what? Let me exit out. I forgot one thing. All right. I need to give it the right permissions. That's right. So I'm gonna say chmod, and let's say 0400. So I'm giving it the right permissions um, that's needed for this new private key in order for it to work when authenticating. So let's try that again. There we go. All right. So I'm in. All right. So if I do a ls, all right, let's see what files are actually in the home directory here. Bam, there's the flag. And if I just say cat flag, there's our flag. All right. And so another thing, let me try to authenticate too with that new FTP account that I made too. All right. So I'm gonna just type exit out of this. And then let's see. This time I'm gonna just say, well, let me see, I can keep everything the same. Okay, so this may require me to give it a password since I set up a password for it. And we want to rename that account FTP on the target host. So let me see. All right, it's asked for a password. So I'm gonna say password 123. All right, and there's the backdoor user account that I created, or service account that I created. All right. So look, don't look like anything's in there, but those are the two methods. So I just showed the two methods where I was able to successfully log on to this target host. All right. The first being that manual that manual a process of where again I created that backdoor FTP service account to kind of blend in with the other service accounts. All right. So the idea is to kind of to have an account that doesn't really stand out. Put it in the same user group as root, since I was able to gain root access via the exploitation of that check rootkit vulnerability. All right. So because I was root, I was able to place a new account into the root user group. All right. Once I did that, now we can see that I'm able to log in with that FTP, that new FTP service account. And again, ideally, it shouldn't be very easy to spot, since I not only gave it a very common service that runs on the system, but also assigned it a user ID. So as far as the sequentially how how soon it was created may not stand out to the may not stand out to whoever's looking at that etsy passwd list. And the second method I use is by creating but excuse me by using that post exploitation module within Metasploit that specifically targets Linux compromised Linux hosts, and then provides a method of persistence by creating a public SSH key, and it puts it in the home directory of all those service accounts, and then provides me with that private key that I can use then to authenticate into the system at any time, because of all those the copies of all those public keys. Technically, we really only needed one in there, and then specify the account. But hey, it's good to have multiple versions of that in there to be able then to authenticate with using my private key. But yeah, so these are just a couple of ways in which we can maintain persistence on a compromised Linux host. But I mean, there are other ways as well. But just wanted to show these really simple ways in which we can do so. Please like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.